Well, good morning, Venters. I know you ate Halloween candy last night. Put the candy down now. You don't have to eat it again today, but if you are, don't trip, just drink water, go for a walk. How about this? Since it's the weekend, how about we go for a double walk? Not today, because it's still Halloween for me. Guys, I saw a video today. Actually, it wasn't a video. I was watching the news. I saw on News Nation, they were talking about how Kash Patel said that out in Dearborn and Inkster, Michigan, the FBI thwarted a plot that involved Al-Qaeda terrorists for Halloween. If you guys heard about this as well, let me know down below. Now, the reason I find this interesting is I believe in Dearborn, Michigan, that's where we have, I believe, the highest concentration of Muslim Americans, right there in Dearborn. This makes me wonder if this is something that they planned on doing to non-Muslim communities outside of Dearborn, or, you know, sometimes people fear that the Muslims here in the U.S. might be becoming a little bit too westernized. So that's just kind of interesting. What plot was actually in the works? And hopefully we'll get some more notice of that here in the future. But here's my thought. I think that's really something else. You don't really hear about that stuff all the time. If they would have done sort of a terrorist plot back in the 70s or 80s, oh my God, back then everybody went trick-or-treating around their neighborhoods. Now, it's like, at least out here in Arizona, you've got to go to like a mall or a school or really ritzy neighborhoods to get any trick-or-treaters. I would say I average about maybe a dozen every year. And back in the day, we would average like a dozen every 20 minutes. You guys remember that? God, I really feel bad for the kids growing up. We really had it special back in the 80s and 90s. So I'm really excited. This is that first year for me, believe it or not, going trick-or-treating with my granddaughter. I don't know what she's gonna be, but whatever she is, I'll make sure I take a couple pictures and share it with everybody. I hope you guys are planning on, well, actually, Halloween was yesterday for you. I hope you guys are planning on walking all the candy that you ate off with me. I think if we can kind of look at certain holidays like Halloween, it's kind of weird calling Halloween a holiday, but Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and we'll even throw Easter in there. If we could just get used to walking a little bit extra during those times of the year, I think that would be great. By the way, this thing in Michigan with Kash Patel, apparently they've made quite a few arrests. So I'm hoping this is one of those things that the media doesn't just quash. Hopefully we hear more about it. When they spoke about it on News Nation, they broke into it like it was a special report. And then they talked about it for a whole combined 45 seconds. So who knows if we'll hear about it anymore. I said Al-Qaeda earlier. I apologize. It was a Jihadi terror plot. I guess the Detroit sector of the FBI has made multiple arrests. So could you imagine a jihad here in Michigan? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's play this out real quick. Let's say that the Jihadi terrorists actually did pull this off on Halloween. That's what's so surreal. Today, you might be waking up to an attack that happens during Halloween. Just because they caught this one doesn't necessarily mean there weren't others in the works. But let's say this would have happened and been a success. Would they have been trying to get a handful of kids? Would they have been trying to attack hundreds of people? Is there a mall or a church or something where maybe trick-or-treaters go for Halloween? God, is there a church giving out Halloween candy? That would be a little odd, but I could see that happening somewhere. What a weird day to attack, though. But actually, it makes sense, doesn't it? You would expect it to be like on a religious holiday, but something like Halloween, nobody's really thinking this day has much, much to do with anything. What would you guys think if all of a sudden we found out that 500 or 600 kids and their parents had lost their lives in some sort of attack? People would have been calling for people to get deported, but how do you deport people that might very well be U.S. citizens? I'm not saying U.S. citizens are jihadi terrorists, but in theory, some could be, right? God, we're kind of powerless as a people and a country, if you think about it. Once the enemy is in your house, once the enemy is in your country, in your city, in your state, fill in the blank, once your enemy's there, it's almost like they're protected. No different than you and I, which is to say they don't have much protection at all unless they're the bad guy. The bad guy gets the ability to plot these things and try to put them in action, and we have to hope that we catch them in time. And if they get away with it, there's not going to be any type of penalty that we can put on them that's going to, make up for our friends and family members that we lose. So this is very troubling. Now, it could also be some one of these things. I bet you we're going to hear from the left that this was just something to kind of distract us from stuff and further sow division, and give us permission to be Islamophobic. That's what kind of sucks about our country. The way we have it set up politically, it's like whatever side one of the parties is on, the other side is gonna fight it tooth and nail. It's gonna fight it tooth and nail. I'm just taking a mini walk today. Just taking a mini walk. I didn't really watch Thursday night football, didn't really watch Monday night football, and I'm actually okay with it. I was really enjoying football, but as you guys know, I've decided to take a step back from it, and I'm hoping that I can put together a couple of reaction shows, I've got a lot on my mind today, going out to my daughter's for Halloween and stuff, so just want to make sure we get everything done and set. Normally I would be walking with you guys 3 or 4 hours from now, and normally I would have my visor on, but I just wanted to show you guys proof that, I do have a forehead and a hairline and the whole 9 yards. Wouldn't it be funny if I took off my visor and you found out that the hair went with the visor? Have you ever seen those visors? Oh my God, those things are hilarious. I remember back in 2006, I was playing at the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas, and we were walking through the Rio Casino. That's where the World Series used to be played at. I don't know where it's played at now. I haven't watched in quite a few years. But back then, the people would wear these visors, and it had like spiked up blonde hair and stuff. Oh my God, and I'll never forget, a guy took his off and everybody was just laughing. Now, of course, we see them all the time, but back then it was kind of a novelty. Made you laugh. Back then, everywhere you went in Vegas, it was loaded up and packed with people. Now I watch these videos, and I'm sure you guys have seen them too, where they show Las Vegas and it's just like a ghost town. Now, I have a feeling that those are taken at certain times of the day where many people aren't out. But could you imagine if you did go to Las Vegas and nobody was out and about? That would be odd. That would be odd. See, the problem with the videos is everybody wants their video to go viral. So they make it look like Las Vegas has 0 people there. But then when you hear the numbers and they say, well, Las Vegas tourism is down 7%. Well, 7% means, 1 person out of 20 is out of the equation. So in the grand scheme, it's going to look a little less packed, right? There's probably going to be a couple more parking spaces in certain areas. But overall, there's still going to be quite a few people there. That's one thing about gambling. Addiction kind of supersedes anything. It doesn't matter if a person's poor. It doesn't matter if drinks cost $50. If somebody wants to go and drop some money in their favorite slot machine, they're going to go. As a matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet that 1/3 of all people in America probably don't even pay attention to the news. So they probably have no idea that tourism is down at all. They're just going in there and playing their slot machine. I want you guys to think about something, especially the next time you walk into a casino. You almost never hear, ding, 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 I won. You almost never hear somebody screaming, I won, right? And even if you do hear somebody screaming, I won, it's not because they won $1 million. A lot of times, it's just somebody that won $500 or $600 and they think they've won more, right? So that's the one thing that I've noticed about casinos. They're always going to have somebody in there trying to get lucky. But if you ever notice, very few people actually leave the casino a winner. Even with the bets that I tell you guys that I make bets like, oh, I think Cam Scadaboo is going to be Rookie of the Year. Next thing you know, he has like a Joe Theismann-like injury to his ankle of all places. Oh my God. Oh. I'm not going to have any candy today. That's because I'm trying to go 90 days without sweets. However, you probably are, even though yesterday was Halloween, you're probably still eating and nibbling on candy. That's why it's important. Let's take a double walk today. If you normally walk for half an hour, walk for 60 minutes. If you agree with me, let's walk off this candy. Let me know down in the comments. And if any of you guys have already put the Coca-Cola down and started drinking water, let me know as well. I'd like to know I'm not the only one. With that being said, have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Be safe.